Hey everyone, Johnny here. Welcome to Tired Old Queen at the Movies. Now, let's go see Steve.
John, what's a nice surprise. Do come in. John!
Bette Davis, Olivia de Havilland, Joseph Cotton, Agnes Moorehead, and Mary Astor and Robert Aldrich's Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte. Now, this was originally designed to be a follow-up to their big hit, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, in 1962 with Bette Davis and Joan Crawford.
I've written a letter to Daddy.
Basically, this is just a field day of actresses of a certain age scene chewing, and it's fabulous.
Where you are, I could spit in your eye with no strain at all.
The story goes like this. Charlotte is the wealthy daughter of a plantation owner, and her cousin Miriam lives with her. Her poor white trash cousin lives with them. Charlotte is having an affair with a married man played by Bruce Dern.
And we were going to go away together, that's all.
Now, Charlotte's father is played by Victor Buono. He calls Bruce Dern and he says, I know that my daughter is having an affair with you, Jewel Mayhew's husband. I'd rather see her with a field hand than with you.
You ain't gonna have my home or my child. I created both and I'm gonna keep them.
So he says, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna call off this engagement. Your wife knows about it. She sat right where you did. What you're gonna do tonight is at this party, you're gonna break it off with Charlotte once and for all.
I made a mistake, Charlotte, that's all.
I could kill you!
He sits back and he hears this noise. And he goes, Charlotte, and there's a meat cleaver, and bam! Off goes his hand. Then he leans back and he goes, ah, no! Cuts off his head. The next scene is the dance, and they're all doing the Charleston, and they're all dancing, and everything stops. And the party makes way, and Charlotte walks into the party, and she's covered, her white dress is covered with blood. And her father comes up and he says,
Charlotte, honey, you come with me now.
No, Papa. I don't want to, Papa.
come on, Charlotte, come with me. And they fade out. And it comes to the present, 1964. Well, by this time, Charlotte has been warned that they're going to put a highway through, and they're tearing her plantation down. And she keeps shooting off her rifle at the government officials who come to get her off her property. She's taken care of by this white trash servant played by Agnes Moorehead. And this is the performance of the movie. Oh, Miss Charlotte.
Cousin Miriam ain't never had but one idea in her head, and that was looking out for herself.
She keeps wanting her cousin Miriam to come back, who's a successful businesswoman, to come down and help her save the plantation. Olivia de Havilland.
She's gotta come. She's the only kid I got left.
Miriam's got to come. She's just got to.
So in comes Olivia de Havilland. Olivia de Havilland is so beautiful. And Olivia de Havilland had replaced Joan Crawford. When they got on the set, Bette tormented Joan so much and drove her crazy, and Joan kept postponing and saying she was ill. And finally, Joan couldn't take it anymore, and she went back to California and checked herself into a hospital claiming that she had pneumonia. Well, Robert Aldrich and Bette Davis, the movie was already behind schedule. Behind her back, went ahead and cast somebody else. She said, well, let's get Barbara Stanwyck, let's get Loretta Young, and neither one of them would do it. They were both friends of Joan, they weren't gonna do it. They went to Vivien Leigh, and Vivien Leigh said, oh no, I could barely look at Joan Crawford first thing in the morning, I could never look at Bette Davis. So that went down. So Bette convinced Robert Aldrich to go and talk to Olivia de Havilland, who was living at that time in Switzerland, and he flew all the way to Europe, took 4 days, and talked Olivia into taking the role. Joan found out she was fired from this movie by a radio announcement. Joan never got over it, and it was humiliating for her. Anyway, Olivia came on. The shooting was well underway, and so she comes on as Miriam. And Miriam strikes up an old passion for the doctor, who's played by Joseph Cotton, who's taking care of Charlotte. And gradually, Bette Davis's character is so erratic. She's walking around at night, calling through the mansion, calling for John, the murdered man that she loved. And, John, Papa, John. And Miriam says, she's crazy, Drew. She's really crazy. And Olivia is so sanctimonious in this movie.
She is deranged, Drew. She must be.
Later on, Miriam goes into town and she runs into Jewel Mayhew, played by Mary Astor. And Mary Astor just doesn't.
Oh, here, let me help you.
You leave me be. If I ever prayed for anything, it was that you would never dare show your face to me again.
So there's something going on there. And it keeps building and building until suddenly Charlotte is being driven out of her mind. And you suddenly realize that Miriam and the doctor are trying to drive her crazy with drugs and things. There's a lot of surprises in this movie. There's a lot of startling things. There's a lot of gore. It's a lot of blood. There's a lot of screaming that goes on, and it's a lot of fun. And these actresses are having the juiciest roles that they've had in years and are having a field day with this movie.
What's going on up there that you don't want me to see?
The movie was a big hit. It made a lot of money. It also cost Fox a lot of money to make it. They were really scared. Fortunately, it was a hit. This was Mary Astor's last film. Mary Astor said, you know, I had my biggest success with Bette Davis in The Great Lie. I won an Academy Award because she rewrote the part for me, and I won, and I thought, there's no better way I can end my career than with Bette Davis. So her shoot was basically a day and a half, and Betty was off that day. She rode 60 miles to the location, Betty did. Got out of the car, went over, said hello to Mary. How you doing? Mary was glad to see her. She walked up to, she checked her makeup, walked up over to Bob Aldrich and said, okay, take it away, Mary. Now, Bob, you're gonna learn something. Go ahead. And Mary Astor was known as One Take Astor, so it was done like that. So, and it's a lovely, you know, with all these other histrionic performances, Mary Astor's performance is a little tight gem.
Ruined finery. That's all I have left. I'm stony broke, is that the phrase? It's a relief to admit it.
And it has the most terrific supporting cast. Cecil Calloway is in it, that wonderful British actor who's so benevolent and kind. And he's this British writer who comes from the insurance company and tries to figure out who did kill, what did happen that night of that murder. And it all goes back to the past. It all goes back to what really happened in that gazebo in the 20s on that particular night. And I think that the denouement of how that happens will really surprise you. It's filled with surprises. It's loaded with suspense. It has these great actresses chewing up the scenery. Bette Davis, Olivia de Havilland, Joseph Cotton, Agnes Moorehead in an Oscar-nominated performance, Victor Buono, Cecil Calloway, and my friend Mary Astor. I love you, Mary Astor, in Robert Aldrich's classic, Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat.